little yarnivores, spiderettes, and arachnids. Fiber Spider back again with our crochet along. Now, with the last triangle of our crochet along, we started in the middle over here, and we worked our way. Now, because this last section with the white is only 3 rows, an odd number, the correct side is actually on the back here, okay? And for those of you that went ahead and continued on, that's not a problem. Me personally, I want to keep with following the correct side of the previous 2 rounds of the entire perimeter, because that's how we started over here. So even though this is the right side facing backwards, when we do the 2 perimeter rounds around these rounds, they will be facing this way. They'll be facing the right way. If you went along, that's okay. This is just, for me, a matter of personal preference. So, without further ado, let me get my project situated and we'll get right into it. Alright, now to make this a little bit easier, I've rolled up my piece and it's tucked underneath here. Make it a little bit easier, hopefully, for turning the work. So, following suit with the previous triangle, which is over on this side, so I went clockwise here. Well, counterclockwise, excuse me. Starting from the middle here, we go over 3 stitches into that 3rd double crochet from the center point, as always, and we're going to pull up a loop, chain 1, and a single crochet into that same stitch. All right. And then into that center space, we do our 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, just as we have been doing. And I've received so many comments, requests, and so forth to keep doing this series. So here I am, and here you are, and here we are together once again. And at the time of this filming, it is July 4th. So happy July 4th to all of you. And I do very, very much hope that all of you have a happy 4th and, above all, a safe 4th. Can't stress that enough. All right, so we're going to chain 1 since we've done our 2 clusters in the center there. Chain 1, go over to the 3rd, so that's the 3rd double crochet with a slip stitch, and then we chain 2, and then we go over 3 more, so that's 1, 2, 3, so that's the center double crochet, and we do a single crochet into that stitch there, and then we turn our work and we start in on the 2nd row. It's a bit tricky, but I'm determined. You know this about me. I am determined, if nothing else. And then so we finish up this cluster with 2 more double crochets into that bottom space there. So as I was saying, yes, I hope that you have a happy, but also a safe, very safe holiday. The 4th of July is a great day of independence. On the other hand, the holidays are always a mixed bag, I'm afraid. When you mix festivities, particularly drinking and explosives, unfortunately, accidents can happen, and I just want all of you to be safe, first and foremost. All right, so we do our last cluster down into this space here, but let's not dwell on anything negative. I've said my piece, my little public service announcement. I just want you to be all okay. So we will continue on and we will focus on the positive things. All right, so now we chain 1, and then we skip over to the 3rd again on this side. So that's 1, 2, and 3 again into the middle. So we're going to do a slip stitch there, and then we chain 2, and then we're going to go over to the 3rd on this side. So that would be 1, 2, because that chain stitch counts as 1. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So it's the first double crochet of this cluster. We do a single crochet, like so. And then we turn our work, and we're going to do row 3. Now, following suit with the original triangle that we had done in the last video, it's going to be four rows, not rounds, 4 rows with the orange to start off with. So again, we're going to go back into this space to finish off our cluster, 2 double crochets. So that's 1. Actually, I can make that stitch a little bit tighter, I think. Don't you? I think so. There we are. So that's 1 and 2. Chain 1, and then we continue along up the side with our 3 doubles. I remember when I was a child and I went to go see a fireworks display for the first time. Oh, there was a bandstand, and we had a picnic in the field, and it was a really fun time, and I didn't know quite what to make of it, being a small child. And then when it got dark, everybody started getting excited, and we were sitting there on a picnic blanket, and there were all these people around waiting for this thing to happen, which I had no idea what it was, and it was the fireworks. Well, I've always been a skittish person, and my childhood was no exception. And I remember when those explosives started going off, oh my, I hid my head in my mother's lap, and I was terrified. And then when I realized that there was nothing to be afraid of, I looked up, and I saw a few brief glimpses of the color in the sky, and then it was over. And I pretty much missed all of it. Kind of ironic when you think about it. But, yeah. Another little anecdote for the books there. Okay, so we've done our clusters for this 3rd row. And so we do another chain 1 because we finished that last one there. And then we go over to the 3rd. So that would be 1, 2, and 3. Again, the first double crochet of that cluster. We do a slip stitch, a chaining of 2, and then into the 3rd. So it's 1, 2, and 3 into that chain stitch. We're going to do a single crochet stitch. I'm sorry, I'm a little off camera. Sorry about that. Keep having to shift my work here. So it's, like I said, it's the 1, 2, and 3, the 3rd stitch, that chain stitch, we have to do a single crochet into, like so. All right, and then we turn our work for the last time with the orange. And my piece is getting a little unruly here. I'm going to have to fix it. No worries. All right, so then we need to finish this cluster here with 2 more double crochets into the base. Yeah, the irony is that actually that's not the first time that sort of thing has happened with me. First time I ever went to the movies, same thing happened. It was back in the 1980s. E.T. was the big movie. And there was this really great theater when I was a kid. It was a single-screen movie theater. And there was a balcony in the back. And... oh, can hear the explosions already. Yeah. And it was a really neat old movie theater. And I was going to go see E.T., which I've always liked that movie. It's a charming flick. But at the time, I was so terrified of the dark that as soon as the lights went out, yep, again, my face was nuzzled to my mother, and I was hiding my face from the dark, and I missed the movie. Guess some things never change, I don't know. But yes, since then, yes, I have seen the movie a number of times, and it's a bit dated by today's standards, but I rather like it still. Alright, so just a few more clusters, and then the orange will be done. Alrighty. And into that bottom space, we do our last cluster, and then we can move on to our next color. Oh, yes. All right, and then we chain one. And then last but not least, we have to skip over to the third, so that's 1, 2, and 3 again into that chain space. Like so, we're going to do a slip stitch. And then, as always, we snip snip our yarn here. Pull out our loop, and then we're going to turn our work and start in on the next color. Alrighty, so I've already turned my work, and I have my next color ready, which in my case is gray. And making sure that our last tail end here is a little bit taut. And then we have to skip over to the third. So that's the third double crochet, because that was the chain. So it's 1, 2, and 3. So into that third double, we take our gray yarn, in my case anyway, pull up a loop, chain one, and single into that, oops, chain one, and then there's the single into that same, all right, I will get this. It's being a little bit difficult with me. There we go. Single crochet into that same space. All right. And then, making sure that that orange one's taut, we do our 3 doubles down below. For our first cluster with the gray. We chain one, and we're going to work our way up the side and then down the other one. And for me, I did 2 rows of the gray on the previous triangle, so that's what we're going to do with this one. Now, of course, if you've done a different color configuration, by all means, go with it. You know, I'm just following suit with what I've done previously. And that's sort of the fun thing about starting the first triangle, is that you're not quite sure where you're going to go with it. You know, the other 3 triangles, well, you know where you're going. You know where you've been, so you know where you're going, and you don't have to think about it too much. And then you get to look forward to the next set of triangles, and you're like, ooh, I wonder what I'm going to do next. I'm not even sure what I'll do next. I mean, after this set of triangles, I think I'll probably do another. I'm not sure yet. You know, I want to make this a substantial sized blanket. You know. Alright, so let me just get that out of the way. We've got 2 chains and then 3 more doubles in the center there. There we are. Chain 1. Alrighty. I'm just going to work our way down. And as always, I really must say I've been getting a lot of pictures of your work, and I'm delighted at the results. Very, very much so. You guys are doing such beautiful work. And I haven't done another showcase, but I'm thinking perhaps when I finish this particular set of triangles that I might do another one. I don't know yet. Maybe. You know, I'm always juggling around ideas. All right, so again, finishing up this cluster down in here. There we are. And then we chain 1. And we just got to anchor this side. So we went into that chain there. So it's 1, 2, and 3. So it's the 3rd double. We do our slip stitch. Then we chain 2. And then we have to go into the 3rd from over here. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So that's the middle double crochet. We do a single crochet stitch. And then we turn our work. Getting tricky. But what the yarn doesn't know is that I'm even trickier. Alright, so we're going to finish this cluster with 2 more. Chain 1, and we're going to go up the side once again. And also, a lot of you have been sending suggestions for other projects for me to do. I appreciate it, I do. And some of them I might, some of them I might not. I don't know yet, but I do appreciate it nonetheless, believe you me. You know, there are a lot of factors that come into play, and I have a lot of projects in mind already, some of which I've already finished, and I just am waiting for a good time to actually do a tutorial on them. I have some other crochet along ideas in mind, and we'll see what happens. You know, I've got a few cards up my sleeve. Alright, so then we're at the top here, so we do our 2 clusters separated by a chain 2 space. There we are. Chain 2. And then 3 more doubles. 1 more. Alright. And then we work our way down this side. Chain 1. There we go. And of course, as far as this particular crochet along is concerned, as long as you guys want me to keep going and there's more work that I can do on this particular blanket, I'll keep going. I like doing this. it's nice being able to sit here and chit-chat with you in a sense. One of you commented that, well, a lot of you comment that, you like me doing these because it's like I'm there in the room with you, and I can appreciate that. And that one of you even said that you even talk back to the screen, even though you know perfectly well that I can't hear you, but I appreciate the sentiment. I really do. I know it sounds silly for me, but I do. Alright, so we've got this last cluster. Yay! Alright, and now we finish it by a chain one, and then we've got to anchor it. So we have to find our third. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So that's the middle double crochet. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Yes, right in here. We do our slip stitch. And there we are. So got to cut that again. We pull up the loop. And there we are. Ta-da! And so we turn our work and we'll start in with our next color. Alright, so I've turned the work, and my next color, following suit with the last triangle, we're going to go back to the orange. We had started with 4 rows of the orange, then 2 with the gray, and then 4 with the orange again. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And so we need to go over 3. So that would be 1, 2, and 3. So it's the first double of that next cluster. I'm going to pull up a loop. Chain 1 and do a single crochet into that same stitch. Alright, so that's anchored, and then making sure that that gray tail is a little bit taut. Go into that bottom space there with our 3 doubles. Sounds like they're starting already over here with the firecrackers. Hopefully I can get this done without too much disruption. As I said that, another one went off. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I most assuredly can. Alright, so we're going to continue on up this side with our clusters. And I certainly hope that you guys don't find the background noise disturbing. But I really want to finish this video for you because I don't like going too long in between crochet along sessions, because I know that some of you have gone on and made more progress, and that some of you have been waiting for me to continue on so that you can continue on. And you know me, I want to please as many people as I can, knowing perfectly well that I can't please everybody, but I'm doing the best I can here. I try to be as timely as I can. Alright, so we're just going to keep going along. And we're almost to the top. Okay, just one more and then we are at the top. Right in there. So we've got our first cluster almost done. We chain 2. And then we do our second cluster as always. Oops. All right. Chain 1. And we just grab ourselves some more yarn. There we are. scooch our work just a little bit. I know a lot of fiddling and finagling as I go, I'm sorry. Alrighty. So we're just going to keep working our way down this side with our clusters. There we go. Keep scooching and fiddling and working. There we go. Oops. There we go. All right. And one more. So down into the space here. There we go. Two more. Then we chain one. And we got to find our third. So we went into there, so it's 1, 2, and 3. So it's the first double of that cluster. We do our slip stitch. We chain 2. And then 1, 2, and 3. Now we got to go into the chain stitch again. Fun, 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 right? So being careful to get both loops on the hook. As always, there we are. We do our single crochet, like so. Then we've got to turn our work once again. Tricky as it is at times, but we keep going. And then we do our second 2 doubles to finish off our first cluster. There we are. I'm just going to work our way up the side once again. So now tell me, at a barbecue, for those of you that like barbecues, what is your favorite dish, food, what have you, at a barbecue? I think mine has always been, aside, of course, from the obligatory hot dogs and hamburgers, my favorite thing was always my mom's potato salad. Always. I think I have a penchant for potatoes due to my Irish and German background. Always loved spuds. And my mom, she used to make the best potato salad. And it was with red potatoes and little sliced up gherkin pickles and a hard-boiled egg, and she doesn't make it anymore now, but when she did, oh, that was my favorite. So what's your favorite? You know, deviled eggs, corn on the cob. It's all about barbecues and picnics around here these days. I don't know about you guys, but that's how it is here. Seems like everybody's having them. Alright, so we reach the top. And we we've got our 2 clusters into that top space there, just as always. And then we're going to work our way down the other side. Really making some headway here. Okay. Oops. Come on. Now, or if you don't care for barbecues, or if you like picnics, or hiking, or I don't know. How do you like to spend the warm weather season? Personally, I've always been a fan of the fall. That's always been my favorite season. You know, not too hot, not too cool, just right. Sort of a Goldilocks syndrome, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, the way the leaves change, and the smell of a fireplace just starting for the season, and the crunch of the leaves, and Halloween, and so forth. I get all nostalgic, I know. I'm only human. But yeah, the autumn has always been my favorite, I think, out of all. Then, of course, if you know my taste in colors, I love earth tones, browns and greens, and autumnal colors, you know, which is why I did that set of colors on my first Kaleidoscope Granny. Very, very earthy autumn tones. This one I want it to be a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more lively. All right, so we've got our last cluster of this row right down into there. There we go. Ta-da! All right, and then to finish up, chain 1, and then we've got to find the third once more. So that would be the chain stitch again, because 1, 2, and 3 into that chain stitch. So it's going to be a little tricky, but I'm a little tricky. There we go. So we do our slip stitch right in there. And then we chain 2. And then into the third stitch. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So it's the third double crochet of that next cluster. We do a single crochet. And then we turn our work and we'll do our next row. All right, so I turned my work and now I'm going to finish up this cluster with 2 more doubles. There we are. Chain 1, and we're just going to zip right along and go through the upside, then the downside. Excuse me. There we go. Just got to keep scooching my work along as I go. All right. There we are. Okay. And on another one of my perpetual side notes, yes, I'm still reading the Girl with All the Gifts. Rather good book. Still rather enjoying it. It's one of those that is far too new for me to do an audiobook narration on my channel, but reading it nonetheless. I I'm working on that, and also the first of the Lord of the Rings books. That one too. Can't use on the channel, but I'm enjoying reading that quite a bit. I've tried getting through the series before, but I think I've said it previously, it can be rather tricky, with the history, the lore, the names, everything. But I'm giving it a concerted effort once more, and I would say I'm about halfway through it. The first book, anyway. Furthest I ever got was about halfway through the second book, but we'll see. No pressure. Alright, so we've reached the top and we've got to do our chain 2 and then our second cluster into that same space. There we are. And 2 more. There we go. And 1 more down into there. Ta-da! And then we're just going to do our clusters down this side. There we go. Excuse me. It's rather odd. It's 8:07 right now, and I would have thought that there would be more fireworks or firecrackers or whatever going on. There were a couple just before, but I haven't heard anything. Sort of an eerie silence, because I have a distinct feeling that it will be coming. It's just a matter of when exactly. Perhaps when it gets completely dark outside, it'll be starting up again. I don't know. We shall see. All right. So just working our way across here. Okay. One more for this cluster. There we are. And another thing that I would really like to do, and I've been working a little bit on it on the side, is doing some more stuffed animal crocheting. It's called amigurumi. I might have mentioned it before, I don't recall. So I was thinking about doing some more of that. I have done a couple of videos for toys of a sort, and they are available in my crocheting playlist. I've done a spider, and a ghost, and a pumpkin, and I believe it was a jelly bean monster. And they're a lot of fun to do. I rather enjoy them. Alright, so we finished this row, and so I got to chain 1, and we got to find the third. So that would be 1, 2, and 3. That's the third double of that cluster. We do a slip stitch, and then we chain 2, and we have to find the third again. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So that's the middle double crochet. We do a single crochet stitch, and then we turn our work, and we do the last row of this color. Alright, so I flipped and fixed my work a little bit, and we're going to finish up this cluster with 2 more doubles down in here. As I was saying, I rather like crocheting little amigurumi toys. It's a lot of fun. And once you get the hang of creating these sort of ball and tube-like shapes, with a little bit of manipulation, you can create some really cool things. And I started doing them before I even knew what amigurumi was, to be perfectly honest. Started with a pretty simple sock monkey type animal, inspired by, sock monkeys that are actually made out of socks. I was inspired by the shape and the design, and I created one of my own without a pattern, and I still have him, actually. And, then I went on to other animals like rabbits and penguins. Penguins were very popular for a while. And turtles and frogs and all sorts of critters and whatnot. A lot of fun to do. Just got to use a little bit of imagination, a little bit of creative know-how, and you too can do it. And I have ideas for a small series using some basic forms for a body and some legs, and then building off of that so that you can make any kind of animal that you want. So that's one of my ongoing ideas for future videos. I'm always thinking about what I'm going to do next. In some respects, this channel is like playing chess, trying to think several moves ahead, because I want to keep your attention, I want to keep your interest, and I want to keep showing you new and interesting things, as always. So, that is yet another thing that I would very much like to do. Some stuffed toys. And of course I am totally up to, open to suggestion as to what kind of animal that you might want to see. So we're up here, so we have to do our chain 2, which I just did, and another 3 doubles down into here. The sock monkey is so iconic that I definitely have ideas of doing a tutorial on something like that. And, well, bunnies, well, I just have an affinity for bunnies. There we go. And for those of you that are familiar with the book Watership Down, and if you know the book and you like it as much as I do, you'll know exactly why. Alright, so just going to work our way down this side with our clusters, and then we'll be done with the orange. Always exciting. But, yeah, I can make almost any kind of animal. Sometimes it is preferable to have some sort of pattern to... Oh, come on. There we go. Sorry about that. A little bit of a tangle. Yeah, sometimes it is easier to work within the parameters of a pattern, at least initially, but technically, I would say that if faced with the challenge of creating some type of animal or creature, for lack of a better word, without a pattern, I believe that I could do it. I think the weirdest request that I ever got was, can you make a guinea pig with a mohawk? And I sort of smiled to myself, and I'm like, yeah, I think I can do that. And, it was an interesting little challenge, but yeah, I did it. The guinea pig that it was based on was a guinea pig named Mo, because apparently he had a little mohawk. And so I made my little guinea pig and I gave him a little mohawk and I called him Hawkins. So you've got Mo and Hawkins. But yeah, you can do it. And actually, if you're interested, I do believe that I still have a video up that's sort of a montage of all of, well, not all of, but a lot of my little crocheted critters on the crochet playlist, if you want to check that out. Alright, so for the last one of this row and of this color, there we are. And so to finish up, we chain one, and we've got to find the third once again. So that is 1, 2, and 3. So that's the middle double crochet. We do a slip stitch, and we've got to snip our yarn, and then we pull out our loop, and we turn our work once again. And we're really coming along. Indeed. All right, so I'm going to grab my new color and we'll start afresh.